what's up, everybody? It's May 8th, Thursday night. And I got a couple things that I'll tell you about. First thing was an Australian guy in the blues put up a video. Is the EART, and I think they're actually called EART, but I don't know, EART. Is it the greatest, the best $680 guitar? And I was like the first one to comment on the video. I don't know how that happened. It hit my feed and I clicked on it. And within 30 seconds, I said, I'll answer that. No. And that's all I said. And wouldn't you know it, I get a reply that says, have you ever owned one? Have you ever played one? Yes. My friend Jerry, at the age of 70 or 71, his 40-year-old G&L, which I had dressed the frets for him and did some work on it, and the guitar really, to me, was in playable shape. He was jonesing for a new guitar, and he didn't have a whole lot of money, and he was on Social Security, and I actually offered to let him play one of my PV Falcons with a Kahler Killer bridge, which was the premium Kahler dive bomber. And he turned it down, and I there's a chance I may have let him take that guitar and never freaking asked for it back, But he felt funny about it. He didn't want to do that, and he was jonesing to buy a new guitar, so he spends $300 and buys an EART Strat style guitar with a humbucker and 2 single coils, I believe. And brought it over to practice. I only had it a day and really hadn't done anything. Within the first freaking 5 minutes, the E string caught under a fret and was stuck under the fret. And he goes, "Oh, what's wrong with this thing? What's it doing?" You got a loose fret, you got a high fret, and if you played under that, behind that fret, and bent up, it would fret out. I said, well, I can fix that, Jerry. Here's some super glue. He put the guitar in the case. I think at first I put a piece of blue painter's tape over it. Said, that'll stop it. He was like, I have a piece of tape on my guitar. Steve Vai does it. Puts it on his pickup to keep a string from getting caught down there. But anyway, he put the guitar in the case and pulled out this J. Tercer Telecaster that was a 3/4 scale guitar. That was just terrible. And I had a set of Tele pickups, and we put them in it, and it helped a little bit. They were, at least they were real pickups and not whatever those J. Tercer things were. But, and he played that damn 3/4 scale Tele for the whole summer, which I offered him a couple different guitars. So hey, Jerry, you can play this. You can play my Les Paul if you want. He's like, it's too heavy. You could play, I had a couple guitars. You'd come over and pick one, and you can pick one of my Teles. And he didn't want to do that. Now, I see he eventually did start playing that EART guitar. But then, and I said, yes, my friend bought one for $300, and within 5 minutes, the E string stuck under the fret. Well, In the Blues replied, this is not a $300 guitar. Note taken, buddy. Who gives a shit? Okay? If that's the quality they do on their $300 guitars, it's not going to be any better on their $600 guitars. And I'll tell you what, you can't tell. Well, you could tell me, but ever heard of Ibanez? Ever heard of Yamaha? Ever heard of LTD? Ever heard of ESP? You know, don't don't say it's subjective anyway, but don't say that guitar is the best $680 guitar out there because he says right in the beginning of the video, they sent me this guitar. So he got it for zero. All right. So yeah, hey, the best beer is free beer, right? Don't you think? So, there's that. So then after that, I'm cruising around looking through my feed, and here's Jace Allen, and he's got a Tease guitar, which is a United States distributor, but manufactured in China. Look, I don't know what the deal is. If you're into under $200 guitars or under $300 guitars, now I'll get to that in a minute. Wait, I don't want to get ahead of myself. What are you doing? Are you buying? I understand. You buy the guitars, you review them. I don't know where they go after that. If you just collect them in a room, or if you sell them, send them back. I don't know. But if you're getting guitars just sent to you, then yeah, I'd expect an honest review, especially if you get it sent to you. But rarely, ever, never, ever do you see someone review a guitar that was sent to them and they go, this thing sucks. This, don't spend your money on this. And Jace even said on one of the guitar reviews that they sent him a guitar, they sent him a list of bullet points that they wanted him to say, and he said them. As far as I'm aware, he said them. He put those bullet points in. Now he did point out things that he didn't like about the guitar and what he thought could be improved, but holy moly, Jesus Christ, we've got an American Pope, and it just blows my mind, So I go on Sweetwater today, and I'm looking around because they keep sending me the emails and keep sending me ads for the Ibanez FRH10 this. And it was over in the side bar where the ads are, over to the right of your screen, and it came up and I clicked on it, and it went from $4.99 to $5.39, which is about a 10% markup. So I started looking around, and a lot of other things are going up in price also. Now, I bought two of these. I bought the rose gold one that doesn't have the controls, and I bought the blue one that does have the controls, and they were the same price. They were $4.99, but I bought from Sweetwater for years and years and years, and I've been dealing with the same guy. His name is Tamir Denton. If you want to deal with somebody from Sweetwater that'll do you right, get a hold of Tamir. And he always, I didn't pay full price for either guitar. I got a substantial discount. Not $100, but if anytime I get something like is $1,000, he'll knock 100 off right off the bat, and free shipping and stuff, and that happened with both of these. Now I'm glad they went up and not down, because I looked at Linda's jazz bass with the foil pickup, and you can't even find it on Sweetwater. Well, Musician's Friend had it from $12.99 down to $9.79 or $9.39 or something like that. And I think they're just trying to close them out because I think that must have not. And that is a beautiful, great playing sounding guitar, but I think they didn't catch on. Maybe they didn't sell well in their or maybe it was just never planned to be. It was only planned to be for a limited time, and now they're phasing them out and you won't be able to get them, which I'd be okay with that because we got one, so now we got ours. But I did this. Alexa, what would $300 in 1979 be in 2025?
From in2013dollars.com. When using the core inflation measurement, $300 in 1979 is equivalent in buying power to $1,356.81 in 2025, a difference of $1,056.81.
In $1,356.81, I think she said, in 2025. I did it earlier today and it said 1,600. So okay, let me do it again. Alexa, what would $375 be in 2025?
From in2013dollars.com. $375 in 1984 has the same purchasing power or buying power as $1,154.23 in 2025.
She got it wrong. She said 1984. I said 1979. $375 in 1979 that I paid for my PVT-60, which was a budget guitar at the time, was over $1,600 in 2025. Okay, so if PV made the T60 now, they'd be $1,600. And that guitar's lasted me since 1979. I've still got it. I paid $600 for that milestone that's hanging on the wall. You can't see it, but it's there. And that was like over $3,000. So adjusting for inflation, right? I've got a lot of guitars from the 80s that were under like $600. A Japanese Fender E-Series, that milestone. I've got 294 Strats. All my PVs are 84. The Falcons were 1984. They were like $600 guitars at the time. And I'll tell you what, those PV guitars, if you got a hold of a Predator, a Patriot, or a Falcon, those were as good as anything Fender was putting out in the 1980s. And then they came out with the dive bomb guitars, the 80s metal guitars, which Wicked Fester talked about today. And he was talking about age-appropriate guitars. And I always like wanted to get like a Kramer with a Floyd Rose on it, or an Ibanez, with a Floyd Rose. But the people that I played with and the type of music that we were playing, if I would have showed up with a Kramer with the reverse hockey stick headstock and the crazy graphics and the Floyd Rose on it, they would have went, no, what are you gonna do with that? What are you thinking? They were so, well, they were mostly older than me by sometimes 10 years, but they were playing a different style of music that they didn't want to see that. And you know, we never got into Van Halen and playing Van Halen. I listened to Van Halen, but we never played any of it. Uh, I did when I was 19 or 20 years old. We played "Ain't Talking About Love" and "Running with the Devil," the best we could in our bands. But uh, those old guitars would be cost a lot more money now if they manufactured them the same way and they weren't just all manufactured in China. And I I'm just so tired of these guitar reviews. I think they're misleading. They're not honest. I'm not saying the people are dishonest. I'm just saying it's not an honest review. Is it what you would go out and buy? Is that ear guitar something that you're going to cherish and be proud of for years and years to come? And there's a couple other things. They always bring up now every freaking guitar coming out of China's got stainless steel frets. And I've said this before. There's different grades of stainless steel. There's shitty stainless steel. You just don't know. If it's going to corrode or rust over time. And in my opinion, stainless steel frets on nickel wound strings, those stainless steel frets within an hour are going to wear flat spots on the bottom of your nickel wound strings on every fret that you play consistently over that hour. Now, the stainless steel strings, 3 on the bottom, I believe are stainless steel in most sets anyway. That they won't be affected as bad, but I'll tell you what, they wear out quicker. And I guarantee you're getting flat spots on the bottom of your strings after playing them for a while, as opposed to nickel on nickel, a nickel wound string on a nickel fret. That's my hypothesis. That's my theory. That's just what I'm thinking. So that's my take. Okay, I'm glad I bought these when I did for the price that I got them at, and these are made in Indonesia, but stuff's gonna go up. Stuff always goes up. Prices always go up, but I think you're gonna see a I don't know if you'd call it an artificial spike, or you're gonna see a spike in prices. And I hope the predictions aren't true about getting like empty shelves and can't get toilet paper again, and you got to take a shower after every time you take a dump. I hope it doesn't come to that. Or you can buy a bidet and a swing arm bidet for your toilet and put that in. My sister did that, and I didn't like it. But anyway, so that's just my take on these. Eert, Donner, Enya, Kenya. I just know. There are too many other established quality brands out there, and I'm not saying that they can't make good guitars, but good Lord. They flooded the guitar market so bad that guitars aren't going to be worth anything in a while. There's going to be so many freaking guitars out there, they're just not worth anything. People won't pay anything for them. They won't pay anything for a used guitar. And so what's a guitar player to do? Really? So, all right, that's my take on it. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel. Please go over to my Patreon. If I get one more person over there, I'll start concentrating on putting up content. Yeah, I keep saying it and I don't do it, but I'll link some more band stuff over there, maybe. Or I'll do some rant and rave videos that are real controversial and put them up. But all right, that's my take on it. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. It's supposed to be warm by Sunday, so Have a good one, everybody. Keep playing and buy something worth buying. Buy something you're going to like in 5 years and not just have laying around. All right, that's it.